All right, we're in progress. So, Bart, welcome. Thank you for joining us and fitting us into your tight schedule. I understand you have something going on around 12:15, so we're not going to take you long, but we like to hear what you have to say. And the first thing I want to hear you talk about is a little bit about your history with Summer's Fitness, how you came to be involved with Summer. And from what I understand, you have transitioned with her throughout this journey she's been on, and it's kind of been your journey also. So can you tell us a little bit about that, Bart?
Well, I can't remember, how long ago it was or what year it was, but I was dating a girl who was one of Summer's proteges, if you will, who was trying to compete in um, fitness contests. And she introduced me to Summer. And at the time, Summer didn't even have a gym that you necessarily went to. She offered boot camp classes at a variety of locations around Stark and Summit County. And then if you wanted to join some of the actual weight training classes, you would have to meet at, oh gosh, I think it was called the American Gym or something. It's on well, it's not even on Maslin Road anymore. It's knocked down. But so I was introduced by one of her students, if you will, and started coming to the boot camp classes. And I just absolutely loved the boot camp classes. They were an hour long. We had very wide open floor spaces. Sometimes we even did them outside. So I got hooked on the boot camp classes way back when, and then just have kind of followed Summer and her class schedule, whether it be weight training or boot camp classes ever since.
So you literally followed her around from the very beginning. She was jumping around, but you're jumping around with her, and you saw the value in the boot camp from right away. And I want to say kind of the same thing happened with me. Boot camp, I did a couple of those, and I kind of got hooked right away because it was a great way to stay on track and take the mind work out of it. I always say leave your mind at the house, because a lot of times I discouraged myself going to work out because I would think about all the things that I had to do and this and that. But when you have somebody there telling you what to do, it kind of takes the discouragement factor out of it, because you're relying on somebody else for the work, but you only have to rely on you to put the work in. So kind of talk on that. One of the key points that I want to talk about, why is it important as a past athlete, and maybe you can kind of elaborate a little bit on that, Bart. Past athlete, been involved in fitness in some capacity, I would imagine, working out, football. And from what I understand, and even just nowadays, we have the speed and agility going on right now. And from what I understand, the pictures that we posted, that you were involved in that as a coach. So one, being a past athlete around fitness, two, being in some sort of coaching capacity. And I don't know how deep that goes. You may have more experience than I even realized. Person with that experience, why is it important to still have a coach in your life? So go ahead and take that, Bart, and tell me what you think from that aspect.
So I am a former college athlete. I played football at Miami of Ohio. I also ran track down there as well as a scholarship athlete. I also, when my athletic career was over, I was a graduate assistant coach for the football team at Miami as well. And I grew up in a coach's family. My father was a football and track coach for 30 years at Maslin, so I kind of grew up around it and have always been involved in sports and athletics. So I want to touch back on a point that you made earlier, Todd. That was, when you're an athlete, regardless of the sport, you rely on the coach to kind of, tell you what to do to help you get prepared to perform your best. And so for me, I've always found that I get a better workout when I'm part of a class or I have an instructor or AKA a coach to kind of tell me what to do. It allows me to not have to think. It allows me to concentrate on the movement, on the effort that I need to put in to get the best and the maximum benefit from the exercise. So I really do appreciate having someone kind of tell me what to do, knowing full well that the curriculum or the schedule that's in place is going to be good and is of high quality. And now if I just put in the effort, I'll get the benefit of that workout.
Because really, if someone,
go ahead. No, go ahead, Todd.
So really what I mean, because like we were talking about, because if you take it upon yourself, it's really a double effort. You got to put the mind work in to figure out what body parts you're going to hit, what muscle group matches up with what did I do the day before with that periodization, staggering the intensity levels. That's a lot of effort right here without even putting the physical effort in. So from what you're saying, and I have the same mentality, is take that out of the equation so you can put the full effort into the actual movements like you said. And you touched on another key point that really kind of resonated with me about being in a class or being in a session environment where you have other people around you. I know what it does for me when I have other people around me working out. What does it do for you?
Well, it energizes me. There's nothing worse, and it's happened to me a couple times in the last several weeks. There's nothing worse than showing up for strength training class at 3:45 on Friday, and I'm the only one there, and it's me and Jason, right? Nothing against Jason, but I like to be in a group with people, right?
Yeah.
It energizes me. I kind of feed off of the other people. And if you've ever been, and I don't do it all the time, it depends on my mood, but if you've ever been in a boot camp class with me or even a weight training class with me, a lot of times I'll be kind of cheering you on or pushing you a little bit. And it's not to call you out or anything like that. It actually helps to motivate me, to talk to people while we're working out and tell everybody, hey, 2 minutes, I got 2 minutes left, whatever I might say to you. It energizes me, it motivates me. So that's why I prefer to be in a group as opposed to one-on-one.
And I never even thought about that either, Bart. Thanks for bringing that up, because we're all humans. We all have down days and we have different, like you said, depending on what mood you're in or what's going on in your life. And as a coach, I appreciate the intensity and the uplifting spirit of you to elevate the mood of not just me, but for yourself, but to all the people around you. So that is awesome. And thank you, Bart. Keep bringing that in. And just your intensity and how you lift other people up is awesome. Not just for me, but the people around. And I think we are on the same page when it comes to it's exciting or energizing to have an energized environment, the music, the coaching, the other people. And I know when I'm looking around me, if I'm by myself, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm repping this out. Okay. But if there's people around you and you see somebody working hard, that's what's the word I'm looking for? That's very addicting. That spreads through the whole group. And I think that's one of the things that inspired me when it comes to boot camps is just the environment. And you spoke a little bit about that. But another thing that I picked up on too, you said, so you can concentrate on the movements. And the one thing that I'm impressed when it comes to your working out, that it's not always the heaviest weight, but the focus is intense. The concentration on the movement, the technique, and the proper form is very, very, very good. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And this is something I've implemented into my working out as I start to, well, not start to age, we're always aging, but as I start to get older, I realize more isn't always better. Kicking the, out of yourself isn't always where it's at, because you can do that all day long. But if you're doing things wrong, you're setting yourself up either to injury, over fatigue, over training. We always want to overreach, but we never want to go too far, because then you can go into a place of not getting the proper recovery. So can you tell us a little bit about what's your mindset, or why is it so important to you to take movement slow, under control, full range of motion? What benefits do you feel from that, and why do you do that?
Well, the reason I do it is to prevent injury. I've had my share of injuries, over the years, and have come back from, knee surgeries and shoulder surgeries. And I understand that when you are rehabbing an injury and you have to go through physical therapy, they always start you out with something extremely light, high repetitions, and you build from there. So for me, it's more about controlling the weight. I do push. So it's more, I guess where I need to go with this, it's a balance. It's a balance of being able to control the weight through the proper movement, completing the movement properly with excellent form.
Absolutely.
But also it's having to find that balance of the appropriate weight. And yeah, anybody can have great form with super light weight. Okay. That's real easy to do, to go real slow and have super light weight, but you're not going to get maximum benefit from that exercise unless you increase the weight. So for me, it's finding the balance of what's the maximum amount of weight that I can control and still have excellent form so that I don't injure myself. And so I feel like I do a real good job of that to get the maximum benefit of the exercise, but still using an appropriate weight. And if you've ever done a weight training class with me, I'm always behind. You get these weight training classes take 30 minutes. It always takes me 35 or 37 minutes to complete them, for two reasons. One, I go a little bit slower than everybody else because I'm trying to do the movement correctly. And two, I push myself with appropriate heavier weights when I can, to the point where I need to take a break in between sets sometimes so that I can get the most out of the next set. So I would caution people to not, I know those classes are set for 30 minutes, but don't be in a hurry. You'll get more out of the workout if it takes you 33 minutes instead of 30 minutes. Don't be in a hurry. Do it right.
Absolutely. Well, and you said some other key points there that I'm picking up too. Bart, in all actuality, your session doesn't last for even 33 or 37. From seeing you, everybody's out the door, but not Bart. His session goes for 45 because he takes it upon himself to go over to the blue mat, lay down, grab that green band, which I want to thank you, Bart, because, up until this point, younger, I was always like, who cares about, keeping myself safe? I want to get big buys to go out on the weekends and get out the door. But as I'm aging and, I guess life is starting to set in on the body a little bit, I'm understanding the importance not only to keep that functional fitness going and keep you on track as you age, but there's an element of the injury factor or the setbacks that you're talking about. Can you tell us a little bit about your band stretching and your routine at the end and how that helps you stay on track, but also, like you said, one of your main mindsets was to avoid injury?
So yeah, the stretching goes back to avoiding injury. I've been through enough physical therapy sessions and have been involved in enough sports in my life, collegiately and otherwise, that, stretching has always been part of being an athlete, and it's part of, keeping yourself injury free. I'm over 50 years old now, right? But I still consider myself an athlete. And I recognize that if I want to go out and coach my son's basketball team, if I want to go out for a run, if I want to go in the backyard and throw the Frisbee with my son, if I want to be active, I want to be able to, even though I'm above 50 now, I want to be at my peak performance for which my age allows. And so I look at it as, hey, I'm not the athlete I once was. I'm not a collegiate athlete, playing Division I football, but I'm still an athlete, and I want to be active with my son and with some of my younger friends. And I don't want to, if I want to go out and be a weekend warrior, sometimes I want to be prepared to be able to do that and not get hurt, and be able to, hold my own / compete, with people a little bit younger than me, or even just be active with my son and not be the dad who's limping around because he pulled his hamstring because he was way out of shape when he was trying to run around the backyard with his son, right? So that's kind of how I look at it. And
So,
I got to be honest, I go to these classes and everybody leaves, and many times I'm in there by myself stretching, and I'm kind of mad. I'm like, wait a minute, why is that? Why can everyone else just walk out the door and not stretch, but here I am stretching? So I get kind of mad at people. Sometimes I want to yell at people, hey, you're not going to stick around and stretch with me? I never say that to people, but it crosses my mind. Long story short, I highly recommend, hey, you don't have to stick around as long as I do and stretch. Okay, I'm an old man now. I need to stretch more than most people, but you should stick around a little bit and stretch. I would highly encourage people to. You'll feel better the next day. You'll prevent injury. If you want to be a weekend warrior, you'll put yourself in a better position to be a weekend warrior.
Well, Bart, thank you for sharing all that. And those are all great points. And I picked up on a few, but I understand that you're a little bit on a time. Just you say.
I got a couple more. I got a couple more minutes if you got something else. But if not, that's cool too.
All right. Well, the one thing that I wanted to say was people have this preconceived notion, and I read this in Summer's book that she came out with, the Forever Fit, that once you hit a certain age, you're supposed to stop. You get to an age and like this is the norm, 50 above, and I'm supposed to be slowing down, but you're not. Like you took your mindset out of the fact that I'm over 50 and said, it's not about an age thing. I'm still an athlete, and it's about the quality of life that I want. When you stop moving, when you stop implementing those important things because I've reached a certain age, that's when your quality of life starts to decline. And I think you see that, Bart, too, that I don't have to, just because there's a predetermined notion of 50, I'm going to start, go kick it back and play a little bingo or whatever it may be. It's not like that. The work that you put in is the work that is what you get out of it, and understanding that you want quality of life for your son, the people around you, you're still going full steam, but you're catering to the age that you're at, but not taking the age as an excuse to dial it on back. So I think that is super awesome, Bart. Very cool stuff that you've shared with us. And I'm not going to hold you much longer if you got to get running, but I would like to maybe get one question from one of the viewers. Is that okay with you if you have time? If there are questions out there. So please, with the band stretch, I'm telling you, even if you have questions on that and we're trying to implement that, one of our, we're going to try to, discussions, we've been talking about it, that we're going to try to do a band stretch on one of the Thursdays to show you the importance of it, to show you the effectiveness of it. And just talking to Summer about it the other day, the immediate effect of it, from touching your toe one time and then 5 minutes later trying again. So if you have a question, please put your hand up if I can see you, or put your hand up in an emoji thing. I'd like to have one question, even if it's from Keely, Aaron, Summer, Sherry. Anybody have something out there for Bart for taking the time to join us today?
Well, while people are thinking, let me throw this out there. I don't know how many people. I don't know how many people you have on, or who's going to listen to it later on, or whatever. But for those of you that are members, if you ever see me there, if you know who I am, don't hesitate to, ask me a question. I've taught boot camp classes there many, many times over the years. I've taught speed and agility there many, many times over the years. I know my way around the gym pretty well as far as all the different movements that you might be doing. So if you ever have a question and, Aaron and Jason and Todd aren't around or something, don't hesitate to ask.
Yep. And that's a great point. That's what the boot camps are good for. That's what our sessions are good for. Not just through, you don't have to, it's a community. You don't have to rely on yourself for everything. You have a support system around you, not just the coaches, but the people doing it there with you. Everybody has their experiences. Everybody has their journeys that they've been through, and all those journeys have value for others around. So speaking of those others around, did we think of a question? And if not, that's okay too, because I believe Bart has to get running. So if you don't have the questions now, think of them for when you see him. He's the intense guy, looking all ripped, moving slow, controlled, and stretching with bands. Anybody? That's okay. Well, Bart, the one thing I just want to do is thank you for your time, not only being a dedicated member for a long time, but also for your time here today and sharing the valuable information that you've gained throughout your experiences, not only as a member of Summers Fitness, but as a past athlete and coach and a long line of family coaches. So thank you very much for being here today, Bart. We really do appreciate you and you spending time with us.
Thanks for having me, Todd. Appreciate it.
All right, Bart, man, you have a great day, and
All right, you too.
we will see you. So now that we have people still on here, is there anybody that, and Bart had to go, is there anything that resonated with you? Not just that you have to share now, but please, when we post it on Facebook, and things start to pop up in your mind, and I'm that way where they come after the fact, please share those thoughts in the comment section below of this video. So not only like just to share, but it's all about inspiring the people around you. If you see a video on from some guy that you see at the gym, maybe you'll watch it. But if someone personally, I see Renee, who I know, says, wow, this meant something to me, I learned something, there's value in just you posting what you've learned, because then it will spark somebody else to take a look and gain the valuable information that we have. So, Summer, Aaron, is there anything that you guys, there you go, Summer.
Sure. Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to recap on a couple key points that Bart said. You know, like he was an athlete, right? He was used to competing and performing at a high level. But if you listen to what he said, he's not competing with the other people in the session, right? And sometimes people start to do that and they sacrifice their form, right? Or they want to be the first one done. Or sometimes they're even doing like extra work that they don't need to do. Like if you heard Bart, he says he respects his coaches as an athlete, like he was raised in his coaching family. And so he sees the value that when you have a trusted coach, which obviously he was saying he trusts the Summers Fitness family, that's why he's been around for 15 years, that he trusts the programming that it's handed to him. And so the only really extras that he does is the recovery, right? The stretching. So like if Aaron's like, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we have people that they want to go over and do more abs or more cardio and they don't need to do that. And, or, oh, they want to be the first one done doing an exercise and their form was sloppy, or maybe picked up a weight that was too heavy and they couldn't do it appropriately. So I just think that was really key, that like Bart's like, no, I am in tune with my body and doing it correctly and knowing that level. And that's something that only each person does, but he also respects the programming. And so, like he said, since he's been with me for over 15 years, the stretching with the bands is something that we really, really spent a lot of time on. He has a lot of experience and we're trying to get back to that. But as you guys know, it's hard because people want to fly out the door. And that's like putting the brakes on a car and slamming the brakes. And so, like he said, he takes time on his recovery. And I also know, you know, Bart, because he, you know, asks me periodically, he purchases recovery supplements from me as well too. So like his nutrition and supplementation also supports that outside the gym. And I highly doubt Bart's someone that's staying up till 3 a.m. playing video games, right? Like I'm pretty sure he has good sleep habits too. Do you see what I'm saying? So like all of that is just as important, because when you look at someone like Bart, right, who's like this super fit specimen, it's because of the work he's done his whole life, right? And so sometimes we're like, oh, well, they're just always like that, right? Or they're genetically blessed. And that may or may not be true, but it's been that dedication, right? To like keep going and then adapt. So like he said, he's adapted to injuries. You know, he's adapted his mindset. He looks at things differently. So I just think that was really, really key, because the recovery piece that a lot of people don't see, Bart makes a priority as well through the stretching, through what he puts, you know, what he fuels and puts in his body, and even with rest too. So, but yeah, I know Bart's not on here, but he knows too. We love Bart because like he adds value to the session, right? And so I think he was trying to encourage any of you too, like, don't be afraid to tell someone else in your session, man, you're working hard today and you're looking good, keep going. Because like he said, that helps him. And then as we all know, that elevates the mood. So I think that's a great example. And yes, Bart has helped us with the kids and the speed and agility. And like myself, but Bart even a little bit more, we're older parents. And so we need to be, aware of different things to keep up with our kids, right? And so if you have grandkids, the same thing, right? Like it's about quality and being able to be a participant in life, right? And participate at the fullest. So if Bart ends up watching this again, I thank Bart, like we love Bart, like he said, one of his moods, I mean, he could be a little feisty one day, right? And other day, energy. And that's life, right? Like we're not always going to be on every day. Sometimes we need pushed. So that's just super cool. So we thank Bart for how he contributes to us, to the Summers Fitness family too.
I just wanted to say one thing that you picked on quick that I didn't even realize until I heard it. And I don't know why this isn't coming around on me, but we're on speaker view, so we're okay. But the thing that he did not one time in that whole thing was he like, can you guys see, is it coming to me at all? Okay. Not one time did he say, I want to go over there, or I do this because I want to look good. I do this because I want to be ripped. He found a reason. He found a why, his son to be a functional, not just, but a parent that not only adds quality to his life, but to his child's life. And I feel like if you have that mind, because if your thing is, I just want to look good, I just want to look good, you're not going to stay on track for 15 years like Bart. But he found a bigger purpose. And that bigger purpose is something that's actually important. And then guess what happens when he does that? He has that main purpose that keeps him on track. Then you get ripped in the meantime. Not, in shape, fit. But what I'm saying is put your why in something that has some substance, that doesn't just last for 3 months and say, okay, I'm cool, because that's your quitting factor right there. I reached what I wanted to look like. Peace. I'm done. Guess what? That's why you have the people do this. But when you have that steady why that lasts for a long time, that's going to keep you on track, looking good as well, but having that high quality of life, which is most important. So thank you for Summer. And these are what these are good for. This is what accountability calls are good for. This is what boot camp in a community is good for, that they remind you what you may have lost along the way. They keep you on track, not just going to the session or the boot camp, but they keep your mind in the right mindset as well. So thank you guys for everyone who tuned in. Please keep up the great work that you guys been doing. Also maintain during the holidays so you don't feel like you've taken a step back once the first of the year starts. And if you're not doing, the one last thing I wanted to add was the results don't come from the work. And I know my mindset was, well, I got to run over there and do some abs because I got to put more work in, and then I run out the door. Well, if you take that 10 minutes of abs and put it to flexibility, the one thing I know is I've done less work with more recovery and had better results. So keep that in mind. And if you guys have some stuff that pop into your mind as you guys watch the replay, please add those comments below so this valuable information that we've learned along the way can be spread to others as well. So I'm going to end it on that note. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you on your next boot camp or strength camp or Forever Fit. Sherry, Renee, Laura, Kristen, thank you all for being here. And I'm going to end it now. This is always the awkward part for me, the cutoff part, but here we go. And 3, 2, 1, bye.